So the last thing we need to do for this lab is to make our PCs be able to communicate across VLANs. I don't know about you, but I feel kind of unsatisfied at this point. I have a bunch of PCs that can connect to the same VLAN, right? So I can connect to all my 2.2 PCs from this one, 2.6. Right, I connect all my 2.2 PCs, but not to my 3 dots or my 4 dots. Well, that leaves me feeling unsatisfied. So we're going to configure inter-VLAN routing for fun. This should be a review. We have done it in previous classes. So we'll add a router. We'll add a 2811 for fun. And we will connect it to the switch, right? We need to connect it with a straight through cable. We'll connect 0, 0, and we'll connect it to 23. So, this is referred to sometimes as router on a stick because frames will go into the router across the link and then back down the router across the link. So if we talk about what's going to happen, this switch interface needs to be configured for trunking, which that was 23. It needs to be configured for trunking. Enable. Needs to be configured for trunking, and we will configure the router to handle that in a minute. So conceptually what happens, if this PC wants to ping a PC in a 3 network, so we'll say we're going to ping 3.2, we're going to ping from 2.2 to 3.2. So if we look at the flow of the traffic, this PC is going to decide it needs to send that traffic to its gateway, which if you recall we configured as 2.1. It's going to figure out it needs to send it to the router. It's going to send it to the switch in VLAN 2. The switch is going to say, hey, I need to send this out the trunk. It's going to tag that frame for VLAN 2 and send it to the router. The router is going to receive it, pull out the VLAN tag, consult its routing table, and figure out, oh, I need to send that back to that switch in VLAN 3. So it's going to tag the switch with an 802.1q VLAN tag for VLAN 3. It's going to come back to the switch. The switch is going to remove that VLAN tag, and it's going to send it back out this interface to VLAN 3 PC here. So in order to make that happen, we need to do a little bit of configuration on the router. No, we're just going to configure the very basics that we need, which in this case is just configuring the interface. So once we get in here, we need to create sub interfaces. Interface FA0/0.2. This is going to be the sub interface I'm going to use for VLAN 2. Encapsulation .1Q2. This is a command you put to tell it, hey, this is going to be a trunk interface you're connected to, and this interface is interested in the VLAN 2 traffic. And then we need to give it an IP address in VLAN 2. If you recall, my gateway I set on my PCs was 2.1, so I'm going to set it to 2.1. And we do the same thing for VLAN 3 and VLAN 3 and VLAN 3 and VLAN 4 and VLAN 4 and VLAN 4. So that is the basic configuration we need for that. So this is basically telling it, hey, subinterface 0.2 VLAN 3, here's the subnet we need. A quick note, these numbers do not all have to match. You can use subinterface 0.12 for VLAN 3, and you can use whatever subnet you want on there. I think it makes sense to make the stuff all match. It's easier to keep track of, so that's why I do that. If we look at the link's still red, so we need to go do our old friend no shutdown on the hardware interface. No shutdown. Alright, so that brought them all up. So show IP int brief. There we go, up and up. So in theory, now we'll ping between PCs. Drum roll, please. Oh no. is it not working? Oh, look at that. It finally worked. So I told you earlier in the semester, be patient with the simulator. Sometimes it fails in the first ping. Well, that one failed for 3 pings. I'm not sure why that was. Maybe the, oh, I bet I know. I bet the router wasn't done with its spanning tree nonsense yet. So let's try 4.2. 4.2. Yeah, so that's more like it. The first ping failed and the rest of them were fine. So, a couple of notes about this. Well, just one note I guess I can think of. I'm pretty sure that if you create a new sub interface, so let's say we're going to do 0/0.5. Let's assume we're adding VLAN 5. If you try to set the IP address before you set the encapsulation, I think you get an error. Let's test this out. So yeah, so if you get this error, basically you need to do the encapsulation command first. That's what that's telling you. So that's what that's telling you. You have to set the encapsulation before you can do the IP address, which, yeah, so that's basically that.